diesel powers America, from trucks and trains to tractors and excavators, and the need for skilled technicians is exploding.
The opportunities in the diesel world are endless. Here is everything that you'll ever need to succeed.
At the University of Northwestern Ohio, you'll train on real engines, real rigs, and real industry tools, preparing you for careers in transportation, construction, agriculture, and beyond. Apply now at unoh.edu.
Tonight, collegiate and alumni drivers and teams begin their long journey to a championship, and it all starts here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Welcome everyone to season 14 of the UNOH College Cup Series as we get underway here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight, it's the opening race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is the Hall of Fame 200 presented by the NAPA Longland Corporation. I am your host, Brad Daniels. Alongside me is the driver we talked about a lot in season 13 is Lucas Moody, and behind the scenes we have Christian Brian Hill, who is producing everything on screen right now and brought to you by Green Flag TV. First off, Lucas, we got a lot going on, in season to talk about, but how are you doing tonight? How are you feeling coming into Charlotte?
I'm feeling great. I am so excited to get back to the CIL, but this time not as a driver, but instead as a caster up here in the booth. It has been a long time since I cast a CIL race. My first ever time actually casting ever was the Daytona 250 that I did with Zach Lindler all the way back in the spring of 2024. So it would have been absolute ages ago. It feels like almost 2 years, approaching now being 2026, but cannot wait to get back up here in the booth. And of course, we got Charlotte Motor Speedway. What a better place to kick it off than the home of the Coke 600.
Oh, absolutely. We got a absolute barn burner here for tonight. I mean, we got a lot of drivers returning from season 13, but some new faces too. It's a little interesting to see in this starting grid. But first off, I think we're going to take a look at the schedule for season 14. For a lot of you who might have not seen this before, here it is, and get ready, get your popcorn ready for these nights throughout the season. You got Charlotte Motor Speedway in Chicagoland, Rockingham, 3 very unique and not very utilized tracks by the CIL. And then we take it all the way back to Daytona, one of the favorites by the drivers, in Kansas as well. And Lucas, going through the bottom half of this schedule, anything that's kind of calling out to you, anything that's kind of unique or crazy kind of looking on the schedule?
I mean, I am seeing Autodromo Hermanas Rodriguez, of course, the new street track implemented in Mexico City, Mexico. I'm so excited to see these next-gen cars around there. Of course, we did see it in real life, but this will be CIL's first outing to that track. And of course, the week before that, Darlington Raceway, one of the toughest tracks on the iRacing service, and it'll definitely be the toughest challenge for these guys during the season.
And to get through that, first off, we want to thank everyone that makes this possible here tonight. And first, it is going to be UNOH, the season-long sponsor. Looking to land a career in racing? Begin your education at the university that started it all. UNOH works with some of the nation's premier race teams and gives students the hands-on experience needed to launch their careers. Turn your passion into a career at www.unoh.edu as it's shown on screen.
Yes, and of course, the race sponsor for today, NAPA Longland Corporation. Another one of our amazing sponsors here today.
And we're going to expedite the process here a little bit here and go to the grid. And on top, we have a new face here in the CIL. It is Ryan Arnold in that 13 machine, brought to you from Bryan College outside Austin DeLong from Penn College of Technology. James Bowman in the 18 from the University of Kentucky lines up in row 2, and Brian Ferretta to his outside from Embry-Riddle. Jack Stoneman, another new face from University of Northwestern Ohio. To his outside, Tyler Skozen from UNOH. Rattling through row 4, it's Reese Bayham from Auburn, Ronan Suarez from Santa Monica. In row 5, it's Aaron Brown from Eastern Shore Community College and Nate Smith from Mississippi State.
And starting tonight's race in 11th is Jake Cummings from Converse University and Kristen Garesh, that 06 machine. And then starting at 13th position, it's Alex Jones from Rolls-Homan alongside Trey Lembricht in that 43. And then behind them, it's going to be Edward Sanchez out of Baruch College alongside Aaron Raymond in that 143 car. And in 17th position, it's looking to be the 77 of Miguel Carrera and the 68 of Connor Bingle. And wrapping out your top 20, it's going to be the 62 of Landon Vlecki out of Auburn and the 141 of Josh Kempfer.
Row 11, we got Matt Gagnon and to his outside, Logan Smith from Auburn. Cade Corbin from University of Alabama. Huntsville starts in 23rd. Ethan Head from Tennessee in 24th. Right, starting in 25th, it's Brendan Lyman from Panhandle University and Logan McKim from St. Clair College. Roger Primo from Paul Smith's College starts in 27th, and then 28th, it's Ryan Smith from Auburn. And rounding out your top 30 here tonight, Madison Ulrich from Otterbein and Aaron Cyrus in that 98.
And then your 31st position is going to be Caleb Larson, and alongside him, it's the 71 of Zachary Tallman from PCT, and then the 14 of Carter Capini alongside the 009 of Andrew Voigt, and then 35th position, Andrew McGill alongside Lee Winters. And then I believe the final cars on the grid is going to be Clint Halterman in that 38 machine, Keegan Kallick in the 29 machine, and that will round out your 37 car grid, or 38 car grid.
And just like that, the pace cars down pit road on this evening here in Charlotte, and we are green here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Coming out of turn 4, it is Austin DeLong able to take the helm for Penn Tech College of Technology there in the 222, but James Bowman battling up there with him. As you can see, everyone's trying to get anything they can here in the mid-pack. And, you know, everywhere, you know, some of the rule changes you could see in the CIL for a lot of these drivers trying to, you know, make it a little more conservative approach. Maybe, you know, getting some end-of-line penalties for being involved in more wrecks and stuff like that. But for a lot of drivers, it's still, we saw some 3-wide and a lot of battling throughout the field here. So, you know, right now, up front, you got Austin DeLong setting that fastest lap as well. But everyone just trying to catch the 222.
Charlotte Motor Speedway is a very fast quad oval that it'll get us a lot of good racing tonight. We've already seen that lead position change hands a couple of times. Austin DeLong now, with that fastest lap, looks to be leading it pretty squarely with the gap of 1.2 tenths. We're Toby Rogers just a tenth, but no, we have a spinner. He's going to get his way into the infield, not cause a caution. But that is going to be a huge hit for, it looks to be, the 222 of Austin DeLong.
And from the pole position, well, not pole position, but from the front row, now outside of the top 20, it is that Austin DeLong machine. Oh, it looks like there's some incident behind him as well. Hard hit into the outside wall. That's the 48 of Madison Ulrich around onto the inside apron there. And I think that might have all been a chain reaction of the 222 maybe being a little off speed and everyone catching back up to him. But we'll have to take a look at the replay here. And, you know, a lot of fresh faces come in season 14, but Lucas, also a lot of fresh liveries. As you can see, that Otterbein machine has a nice, I think a little, I can't tell exactly who's on the side, but, you know, some fresh liveries is going to be, you know, coming with a new season.
Oh, don't you worry. As the resident League of Legends player here, I know exactly who's on the side of that 48 machine.
Oh,
that is of course the K-pop group KDA, made up by Riot Games. It's a completely non-fictional K-pop group that Riot Games, the creators of League of Legends, made. They make great music. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love their music. It of course features Ari, Akali, Evelyn, and I'm blanking, Kaisa. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, they only have 6 songs, and those 6 songs were the top songs of my my Amazon Wrapped last year. So I am a big KDA fan, if I'm gonna be fully truthful here tonight.
Well, I mean, you're adding way more context than I did, 'cause I would have said absolutely nothing to what was going on there. But let's look back at the replay yet again. So you can see Matt Gagnon and Madison Ulrich here battling through 3, and through the tri-oval, I think that was the smoke from Austin DeLong checking absolutely everybody up. And here comes that Penn College of Technology machine, making it 3 wide. I think that's Logan Bakim, but it's actually right in front of him. Roger Primo, Cade Corbin get into the mix a little bit there, caused that initial chain reaction. Matt Gagnon, oh wait, no, that is the 71, Zach Tallman. Apologies there, as he gets sent to the outside wall. Madison Ulrich bounces right off. I believe that is the Auburn machine of, I believe, one of the Smiths, last name Smiths, I believe, got involved in that.
Yes, that seemed to just be a really unfortunate checkup there that all started with that spin in the front of the field. And it kind of just daisy-chained all the way back into Roger Primo and into Madison Ulrich, which it looks like she in that 48 car is the one that got the worst end of this entire deal. We're going to take another look at it. And yeah, it's actually just a little bit of clipping right there. Roger Primo goes to check up, and he actually slightly comes down to that 08 of Cade Corbin. I just don't think Primo knew he was 3 wide, and that is, of course, where Madison Ulrich as well finds the contact.
And a lot of action unfolding here. That's the 034 of Andrew McGill that gets hit hard on that inside. But all that being said, the opening couple of laps here, full of action, full of just a lot of drama here in Charlotte. It's the beginning of season 14, so a lot up for grabs. Everyone trying to, start off their season on the right foot. But for a lot of drivers, that might be your first CIL race. And I believe at the front of the helm right now, James Bowman, he is somebody we didn't see in season 13, or I don't believe ever in the CIL, trying to look through my history here. So that 18 machine is just, keeping on going and trying to make anything work. As, James, he seems to be from the University of Kentucky, and I believe there's no one else I can think of, at least, from the University of Kentucky. So right now, he has, I think, about a 50% lead rate right now. He's led about half the laps he's been with the CIL. So I think that's a pretty good, conversion rate.
Yeah, definitely. And also Jack Stillman, who's going to be starting from his outside, is not a name I recognize either. So it looks like we have 2 rookies heading the field at the moment. And also want to add the two people that started on our front row, being Austin DeLong and Ryan Arnold, are currently down in 24th and 33rd position. So it has been a shocking start to the night for both of our front row sitters.
Well, some fresh faces make up that front row, but behind him, a couple of drivers we saw a lot in season 13. Brian Ferretta, Jake Cummings make up row 2. Aaron Brown, Reese Bayham rounding out your first 3 rows here tonight. A lot of races won in rows 2 and 3, but, when it comes to that front row, no races at all in any aspect until tonight. And we're going to see James Bowman in that Kentucky machine bring everyone to the green. Barney got the green flag in hand, and we are back going racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and Bowman gets a really good jump there away from Jack Stillman, and Bowman really has to start building a gap away from Jake Cummings and away from Aaron Brown, 2 of these seasoned veterans in the CIL that have won a numerous amount of races. I think they both have 3 or 4 plus, if I'm not mistaken on that stat. I know Brad will correct me in the future because he's got that all pulled up. But yeah, Bowman gets a really good start there.
Falling in behind that row 2 has not given up a fight at all. Jake Cummings on the outside, and you got Embry-Riddle's Brian Ferretta on the inside. Those 2 battle out a lot in season 13, not letting anything go for season 14. You can see Ferretta being that highest, or currently the highest rated driver in the alumni class right now. As you say, Edward Sanchez popping his nose in here. He has jumped up here from 15th and now looking for possibly the 4th place position, looking to the inside of the 248. And it looks like he's only about to get that nose in, as he's going to have to give up on that fight and file back in the line.
Yeah, Edward Sanchez is another one of those CIL veterans. I will still never forget his first ever win around Bristol in season 12, I believe it was. One of the most emotional moments of the CIL for me, as someone who's been really close with Edward, and I practiced a lot with that man. I will always be rooting for that 26 car, so we can see what he does here tonight. But yeah, once again, Bowman, he's doing a great job of controlling this pace. But when it comes to these next-gen cars, Brad, it's all about managing your tires. Who is able to manage their tires the best in the long run? So we'll see if the 18's pushing out his tires a little too much right now, and if that's going to hurt him in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And you looking back here at Edward, who I think might be one of those drivers pushing a little bit harder on these fresher set of rubbers, but nonetheless, if he can manage it like some of the, great driver, I'm thinking seasons past, like Daniel Nanny or Armahad Ali, Sean Campbell, some of these drivers who had just made the tires soar on the later stages of the green flag runs, that could just work into his advantage, just getting some spots now and then just let the rest play out. But for these top 5, everyone's single filed out. They can kind of take it easy, take care of the tires if you want. The next battle actually now fizzling back out. It looks like it's actually going to be for the 8th place position between Veliky and Skozen there, the 62-28, trying to figure it out for the 8th place position.
Yeah, and once again, James Bowman just keeps extending that lead on the guys behind. And here we go, a battle between Aaron Brown and that 16 machine. He's currently on the inside. He's looking to get around that 62 of Landon Veliky. But as that's happening, he's got Trey Lambert on his outside. And oh my gosh, I thought contact was about to be made between the 16 and the 43. Because, oh my, Aaron Brown was just not clear. He kind of forced himself into there, but luckily Trey Lambert, he does back out on that occasion, and no harm, no foul.
And everyone taking it easy now, getting single file. You can see everyone's running pretty much the same line. Some are electing to go higher than others, but a lot are wrapping it around that apron near that middle of the first and second line, and that is the place to be, that lower half of the track. And if you're on that outside line, you can make it work. Charlotte is one of the places I think that you can get a run like this, like Trey Lambrecht. You can at least get your nose in there on the outside line and get alongside Aaron Brown coming through the tri-oval and just keep that momentum going. As you see, he's now nose to nose with the 16. You can see also looking at the timing table on the left, all of these drivers really in the top 10 outside of Tyler Skozen have just charged their way up to their current position. No matter where they started, they are on the move. And for Landon Veliky, actually, that driver in the Auburn machine of that 62, he is pushing his way up now, only up 11 positions, but battling for 7th. As you see Edward Sanchez get passed by Reese Bayhem as well.
Yeah, but Edward Sanchez does not look like he wants to back off of that battle. You see, he's all the way on the nose of Reese Bayhem there. He's not going to look for a move into turn 1. He's going to bide his time just a little bit more, as Landon Veliky still trying to fight for that position back against Trey Lambrecht there. But Lambrecht's going to hold him off for the time being, and the F43 car looks to have a lot of pace early on, but he is just ripping that high line, Brad. If he keeps that up over and over and over again, he's really going to wear out his tires much quicker than a lot of his competitors.
Yeah, that Texas A&M San Antonio machine, I mean, it really is a difficult situation sometimes because, you don't know with seasons prior in the CIL that sometimes these races can go for 8 laps of green flag racing, then you have a caution. And it keeps happening, but sometimes, you also get 60 lap green flag runs. So, playing that game, tossing it out there, trying to play a little bit of, rolling the dice there and try to take your bets on the right strategy. You see riding on board with Aaron Brown now. On board, actually, you can see he's keeping it cool and collected in that 16 from Eastern Shore Community College, and a past winner and also somebody who knows how to just get it done all around. Don't count the 16 out, but right now James Bowman up at the front, he's still pulling away to almost a second gap now to Jake Cummings and Brian Ferretta, who Jack Stoneman, one of those who started on the front row this last restart, falling back to 5th, hoping not to fall any further back to the 25, but someone you mentioned before, Lucas, Edward Sanchez, is definitely someone you don't want to see in your rear view.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, Aaron Brown, a 2-time winner in the Collegiate iRacing League, and also an avid AJR fan. If you ever get the chance to talk to him in DMs, whatever it be, ask him about AJR. He absolutely loves the band just as much as I do. That's actually how we began to kick it off in one of the Discord servers we're in. He's also a very seasoned competitor in the NASCAR series as well. So not only does he race here a lot in the Collegiate iRacing League, he is very experienced in this collegiate oval scene. as a whole, as Edward Sanchez in that 26 machine looking around the outside of Jack Stoneman. He will get that pass done, moving that Brute College machine up into 5th place.
Jack Stoneman, I'm not going to try and make his pun out of his name, but falling like a rock. Currently back to 7th place position.
Nice.
As he's now just getting into the battle for 8th. Landon Velikic going to try and use that outside to use the momentum and get around the 25. Currently that University of Northwestern Ohio machine is just trying to do anything he can to conserve what he had initially. But right now, the 25 back 6 positions from where he started this last restart. Now, maybe under the scope of Aaron Brown, who's right there on the inside line. He's trying to stick his nose right in there, and oh my gosh, he got right up to that left corner panel. Didn't get any kind of contact. Luckily, nobody got any sort of loose. Everyone keeps it straight. Everyone keeps it going. But you can see also another thing, I saw Edward Sanchez hit that entry to turn 1. That is something that might be deceiving if you're right up close to these drivers, especially with this quad shape oval like you mentioned earlier, Lucas. It can just pop out. Sometimes you're, at Auto Club or some of these other ovals we go to throughout this season, and it might not be something that you're thinking of. The entry wall, being right up against somebody is, you see Trey Lambrecht hit it too, coming out of 4 there, but it kind of just pops out at you if you're not paying attention. And if you get in a green flag run, you can get in a wall and you just lose focus and hit it. That's a hard hit, as you see it now, a 2x2 battle.
Yeah, and Aaron Brown has stolen away that outside line from Jack Stoneman. He was able to get the Eastern Shore Community College car up to that right side quarter panel of that 25 machine, and just like that, he's able to get that move done, showing you the power of this outside line. But here we go, we're going to cut to battle for the lead. It's Jake Cummings. Oh, sorry, this is the battle for second. Jake Cummings around the outside of Brian Ferreira, and Jake Cummings will actually fall to 3rd place, the 6-time winner, getting bested by the 248 alumni machine.
Brian Ferreira, we know he has the pace. He has won here once before in the CIL, but nonetheless, that 248 is just charging, trying to chase down the first-time driver, the rookie, James Bowman, who still sits about 7/10 in front of the 248 as of now. And you can see throughout the field, a lot of drivers mixing and mingling through the top 16 and then some. But all that being said, I think, when it comes down to it, this is the point where tire fall off is going to start hitting those who pushed it. And for those who are conserving, we're going to see them start shooting up or down that scoreboard depending on what goes on here. And if you're Brian Ferreira, also, you got a little bit of clean track to try and track down this 18 now, because Jake Cummings is a hard driver to get by no matter the circumstances.
Yeah, and speaking of that 18, and also speaking of the 16, some fun facts that have been thrown out around the paddock is both Aaron Brown and James Bowman are avid Kyle Busch fans. So both the drivers in the field, absolutely big fans of course, that number 8 M&M's driver. And of course, Kyle Busch hasn't had the best of seasons recently, but I know that both of those guys are going to be hoping that he can, make a run for the playoffs soon again in this 2026 season that doesn't kick off until February or March, I believe. I'm not too in tune with the NASCAR schedule. But yeah, both of those guys, it just caught my eye. They're both Kyle Busch fans, and I just wanted to point that out there is Bowman doing a great job of maintaining this about 0.6 of a second lead. But Brian Ferreira, I think he's been gaining about a 0.5 tenth, just about a tenth these last couple laps here.
Running that lead down slowly but surely. The 248 trying to see if he can get to the back bumper of that University of Kentucky machine. You can actually see the lap comparison here, as that last lap he actually was about dead even with the 18. These outside of lap 26 there, you can see it's similar pace for these two. James Bowman, I mean, he has clean track, clean air. There's no aero push or anybody really around him for him to, have to worry about any aero type of problems. So the 18 just kind of keeping it steady, probably saving some tire too, because he's just running whatever line he wants to. But Brian Ferreira charging little by little, and staying about 0.6 away from the 18. So all that said and done, you can see he gained back only 1/100th of a second on the 18. So we'll see if the 248 maybe conserved a little bit more tire, or if Jay Bowman can just keep on building on that lead.
Yeah, and this chase that we're kind of in here now between these two cars here, it's really about staying consistent and not making too many mistakes. If you make a mistake, you might lose a tenth to the guy you're trying to chase down, or trying to stay ahead of. So it's really about being consistent, putting in good laps. And here you see we have a battle for third. Jake Cummings, who was in second, fighting down the lead. He might have overpushed his tires, Brad, because now he's under attack from that alumni machine out of Auburn, the 334 of Reese Bayham, as that gap now is just under 0.2 of a second. And I'm sure we'll see a move from that 334 machine very soon on Jake Cummings, because that Reese Bayham, I know he was a competitor that his last semester here was his first time in the CIL, and he came in with a head of steam, being a very good competitor at the front of the field during season 13. So he is also another one of those big names you have to watch out for.
Yeah, just pulling up some stats here. I mean, that Auburn machine has been fast ever since he joined the CIL. And, you know, him having only 24 races, 15 of those, he was in the top 10. He's got, or actually that's top 5, I believe, and 7 podiums in that time frame. No win yet for the 334, but still, nonetheless, he has speed, and he's going to try and gun it. As you see all these universities and colleges alike on the left side of your screen here. And I think we kind of touched on it a little bit last season's finale, but the CIL has had such a growth in the variety of universities since the inception in season 1, and, you know, we're 14 seasons down the line. Something's, you know, got to keep going, but, you know, nonetheless, you got so many different universities and colleges that have been represented and have won here in the CIL. It's actually kind of crazy to think that, you know, some of these big schools like Auburn or, you know, Kentucky, it's Kentucky's first race in the CIL. You know, you'd think maybe there'd be more and more drivers from these larger colleges, but nonetheless, Auburn has a great presence now in the CIL, and Kentucky has their first ever driver in the CIL, James Bowman. So, well, at least in the College Cup Series. I can't speak for the other series right now, but all that being said, you know, all these different drivers mixing and mingling it up and trying to see who's brought it here in Charlotte. You can see a lot of also drivers battling out further back. It looks like the battle for 10th of Brennan Lyman, Trey Lambrecht is ongoing. Brennan Lyman has been on a tear since the beginning of this race. He started 25th.
Yeah, here we go. Brennan Lyman on the inside. I believe he might be looking to fall back to 11th. He's trying to fight against Trey Lambrecht, who's had a lot of pace all day in that 43 machine, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get it done because that outside line is so powerful. But Lyman is able to get a good drive out of turn 4, and he has the place as they cross the quad oval. And yeah, Brad, you bring up a great point. A lot of these bigger schools, they don't have, you know, a lot of drivers, a lot of wins, whatever in the league, and also a lot of it comes down to the fact that it seems like the CCS, at least, was kind of dominated by just 3 or 4 schools. I mean, you think of UNC Charlotte, you think of Clemson. Of course, I'm gonna, you know, say Ball State as well, and St. Clair. You really think of those 4 schools as kind of the ones that, you know, controlled the CIL for a little bit. But now that Ball State is really dropped out of the league, so has Clemson, and UNC Charlotte's presence and St. Clair's has both wavered back a little bit. It's time for these newer schools to step up and start being the, you know, the new. I'm trying to think of a word, but, you know, the new competitors in this league.
And currently, the highest, or the team with, or the college, I should say, with the most amount of wins that has an active driver here tonight would be St. Clair in Tennessee. I believe Tennessee has a couple drivers here tonight, but nonetheless, those two tied at currently 7 wins apiece. As looking back in this little mid-pack battle now, that is Miguel Carrera we are watching, but Ronan Suarez and Austin DeLong, after that early mishap coming out of 4, trying to charge back, and he still has that fastest lap, so he knows he has the speed as he's roaring to the outside of the 77. Miguel Carrera trying to defend that inside line, that University of Houston downtown machine, trying to hold off that Penn College of Technology machine, and they're 3 wide actually coming out of 4. Contact between Nate Smith and Ronan Suarez coming out of 4. That's not going to cause too much other than some hurt feelings as they go into 1 now, 2x2. It's Miguel Carrera on the inside, Austin DeLong on the outside, and DeLong has that pure power running that outside line. He's going to be able to make it clear out of 2. Ronan Suarez still, after having a little bit of a fender flare on that left side of that 31 machine, he's now going to try and make it on that outside, and just does around Miguel Carrera, who's now put 3 wide with Nate Smith on the inside.
Oh, it's a little bit of wall contact there. They get it all straightened out, but yeah, you saw the run that Austin DeLong was able to get around that outside, just using that line to power his way through. Austin DeLong, a cool stat about him, he has the 8th most starts out of any drivers in the CIL, currently sitting at 83 starts, but out of that has still yet to see the top step of that podium. He's got 6 podiums and 12 top 5s, but he has never tasted the victory here, so maybe this could be his first time. I mean, he's got a lot of pace right now. He is down in 13th, but you can never count him out, especially with the amount of experience that he has in this next gen car.
And we didn't talk about it too much in the pre-race, but Charlotte, we have been here 5 times before. Tonight's the 6th installment here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we are cutting back to the battle for the lead. Actually, Brian Ferretta has caught up to the back bumper of James Bowman and trying to make the 6th different driver on that top step of the podium. He's looking to the outside of that University of Kentucky machine. Embry Riddle roaring to the outside. Some lap traffic might come into play here as Brian Ferretta roars to the outside. They're nose to nose, 3 wide for the lead. It contact. Brian Ferretta around and James Bowman.
And a lap car causes chaos here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ferretta's in the wall. Bowman's completely around to the caution. An absolute devastation strikes on lap 41.
I honestly don't know if... we'll have to take a look at the replay. I'm not going to say anything that's crazy, but, you know, obviously lap traffic is something you have to deal with, especially in oval racing, and it just, you know, happens. And we'll have to take a look back now at the replay here, and you can see we were watching that all unfold in front of you. And I mean, the 44 sitting up there, Caleb Larson, he's up towards the wall. And I don't know if there was just not enough space given between the 3 to respectfully get that 3 wide racing out of turn 2. I'm going to say we might need a different angle there to see a little bit more of what unfolded. Riding on board now here with James Bowman.
Hey, you see the lap car, he is doing his job by holding that high line, but Ferretta, he just didn't expect to not be clear by the end of the corner. So when he washed up all the way to the wall that the racing line has you take, unfortunately that lap car was still there, and that's what caused him to have that knee-jerk reaction down into the 18 machine of Bowman. We're going to get a good replay of it here. You see the 44 is still on his outside by the time they're at the exit of the corner, and Ferretta wants to go all the way up to the wall, and Bowman is also looking for that second high line, but Ferretta's just not able to get there because there's a lap car. I don't think Bowman knew, and yeah, unfortunately, not much the lap car could do there besides completely back off in the middle of the corner, but it is a big case of wrong place, wrong time.
All that unfolding, that has brought a great time for everyone to bring it down pit road, get some fresh tires under them, and that's also going to shake things up at the front. As Jake Cummings, you saw, was in the lead. It looks like maybe some shake up there as we're going to see everyone driving on down through. I believe that was Eastern Shore machine able to get out in front, but you can see Brian Ferretta and also Alex Bowman able to... Well, Bowman at least didn't get a lot of damage there, just a fresh set of tires, but it looks like the Embry Riddle machine is going to have to hold off a little bit there. And yeah, that is Aaron Brown. That is going to be taking your provisional lead right now.
Yes, good eye there. It does look to be Aaron Brown taking control of the points, up from 9th up into 1st, and Jake Cummings up from 11th. Going to be starting from this restart in 2nd place here. And yeah, what a great kind of not first half, because of course halfway through the race is going to be around 66 laps, but a great first stint we had there. A lot of great battles. We even had a fight for the lead before it kind of imploded, and even the tire strategy also got into play already, which isn't something you see in a lot of these leagues that can't get a lot of green flag runs. But it's good to see that CIL, they are able to get some longer green flag runs, so we can see that tire strategy play out and see who was saving and who's able to make their way forward at the end of a run, and who wasn't saving, who was pushing too much at the beginning. and they fall their way back. One more thing I want to add for any viewers at home who are new to watching Collegiate iRacing League. First off, welcome, and second of all, there is a slight difference in between the student and the alumni drivers. The students will all be marked with light blue, and they will either have single-digit or double-digit numbers, and then of course the alumni are going to be in red with those triple-digit numbers.
Bringing that up, you could see on the left side of your screen who is student, who is alumni as well. And to say the least, the student division might be a little bigger than the alumni, but nonetheless, the alumni very well represented. A lot of fast drivers like Reese Bayhem currently in that second row, but nonetheless, alumni have been always, throughout the CIL, been fast and always making their mark when they can. So, you know, lights are out on the pace car. We are going to go green this time by. It is Aaron Brown from Eastern Shore Community College on the inside, Jake Cummings from Converse on the outside, and they are going to lead the field back to the green flag here in Charlotte. And again, this is the Hall of Fame 200 provided by the NAPA Longland Corporation, and we are green yet again here in Charlotte. Ooh, Edward Sanchez gets a little out of sorts coming into the green flag zone.
Yeah, you saw that 26 machine get a lot of wheel speed on that restart, was forced 3 wide. He's dropped back about 2 or 3 positions off of that alone, and Aaron Brown doing a great job to hold on to that lead, and the caution is already back out here on lap 45.
Well, cautions breed cautions, and I think that's a, for anyone who watched the CIL a couple of the past couple of seasons, you'll know that those cautions do indeed cause more cautions here in the CIL when it comes to, you know, some of these drivers, especially on fresh tires. That is something we didn't touch on, where you have these, you know, all these drivers were kind of used to these worn tires, have to get back and used to some fresh rubbers that take a lap or two to get to temperature and, you know, actually feel great under you. And for, unfortunately, the Penn College of Technology 71 of Zach Tallman, that is the demise for the 71. And right now, Penn College of Technology haven't had the greatest of day so far in Charlotte, other than Austin having a great qualifying run. But Zach Tallman, currently, you can see he was further back in the pack, trying to just battle through what he could. A major stack up, oh my gosh, going into the restart there.
Yeah, not a lot Tallman could do there. Just got a lot of front end damage off of that. And oh, does he just lose it by himself, or did he clip the nose of the 68 there? I couldn't really tell. But he got himself into this really awkward 3-wide position, and yeah, just kind of lost on cold tires, it looks like.
Well, you see, we're going to watch this back again, because for those who might not have ever touched iRacing or ever been in a sim, when you're this far back, this can happen. There's that major checkup where everyone, it's just a domino effect, and it gets worse and worse by row. And unfortunately for Zach Tallman, he got the absolute brunt of it. And then you can see going into one, there was Connor Bingle from University of Alabama. Huntsville was under him. I think there might have been some slight contact between the two, and it might have been a little bit of a racing incident. I don't think anything egregious has happened up to this point with these cautions, but a lot of, like, 2 cars being in the same spot has caused a lot of these drivers to be unsort throughout the race today, as we're going to ride on board with Connor Bingle.
As we'll get a better look at how this all conspired. I don't think there was contact.
Wow. Never.
Oh, there was contact. There was contact. Okay. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. Kind of hard to see, but there definitely was contact between the 68 and the 71 there, which brought out that caution. And yeah, Brad, you talked about it. Cautions do indeed breed cautions. Last Saturday night, the SRA took on Old Atlanta in the truck car with a full 43 truck field, and that was a cautions breed caution from start to finish. But by the time everything was said and done, there was 16 cautions, and we were racing in the dark without any lights. It was an absolutely crazy race. And yeah, it just goes to show that once you get into this kind of yellow flag mindset, it's really hard to snap out of it and go back to green flag racing.
And it does get a little wild, like you said, is while we have the chance, you know, we have brought to you here by Green Flag TV, and looking to the right side of your screen, you can see the upcoming schedule for all the different leagues that are broadcasted by Green Flag TV. And you have Aspire at Motorland Aragon on Tuesday. at 3 p.m. And then you have Mars at Daytona International Speedway tomorrow as well at 7:30. Right after that, it is the OMSRL at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So a triple header tomorrow. If you're interested, then we have a double header, the CILSC at Daytona Road Course, followed by the Beer League at a mystery track. That is their whole thing. If you're interested, tune in at 9:20 tomorrow. Then you have the CILFC at WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca, a very historic track. And then at the end of the week at 7:55, the ZTRL at Daytona International Speedway. A lot of seasons starting up on the Green Flag TV channel, so make sure to tune in throughout this week. And as the season goes on, we get more and more diverse schedules here. And I think, we talked about a little bit for what's to come for the CIL, but we got a lot going on coming up in this season that, we have a lot of driver tracks that everyone loves to see, but at the same time, some new tracks like Rockingham that we haven't seen in a long time that are making their way back to the schedule. So make sure to tune in every Monday night here on Green Flag TV as we are coming back to the green now, riding on board. We're going to actually ride on board with the 26 of Edward Sanchez from Baruch as they take the green flag, and we'll let you just enjoy the experience of this restart. Never mind. And almost immediately a wreck. Madison Ulrich also around. And oh my, well, you did experience it for a little bit, but it was a absolute checkup there coming to the green. And I believe, was that Brennan Lyman that got sent around? No, he's actually, oh no. We have to take a look back at the replay for all this.
Yeah, that feel of the noise section, as we like to call it here on Green Flag TV, didn't really last too long there, as the caution almost instantly came out. It looked like it was trouble between Jake Cummings and some of the other cars up ahead. I believe this is on board now with the 141. Of course, this is going to be Josh Kampfer. And he kind of arrives to the scene a little bit later on. So there's already the smoke up ahead to the right, but watch as he just pile drives into two completely stationary cars.
And that netcode loves his car right now, because I don't think there's any damage to the Kansas State machine. I can't say it from all angles, but it doesn't look like he got too much of a crazy dent in that hood. As we're gonna try and figure out exactly who the culprit was to begin this whole ordeal coming to the restart. And that was that outside line. You could look further back here. This is Cade Corbin, Madison Ulrich, Logan McKim, a lot of those back here just trying to get through. And it looks like Logan McKim gets into the back of the 48, who had some trouble earlier. And that was actually Jake Cummings who got tossed around up there at the front, I believe, to start this whole thing.
Yeah, it was a really big checkup back in the pack, but those guys were able to get it all sorted out. And yeah, as you saw, that crash kind of happened a little further up the field. It looks to be with the 95 of Jake Cummings and that 62 of Landon Vielecki. As we'll take another look at it, here is Landon Vielecki going to the outside. I believe this is them gridding up. This is just a little bit earlier, but yeah, I'm assuming it's just a checkup and maybe a miscommunication of lines, Brad. To where either Vielecki kind of, roams down into Cummings, or Cummings kind of roams down into Vielecki, or it could be one of the causes that we saw happen to Sanchez earlier. But now we can get a look at it. This is in the second row, and yeah, Vielecki gets a little bit loose, getting checked up by his teammate Reese Bayham, and just kind of clips Jake Cummings, and that kicks it all off from third and fourth place.
And this quad shape oval, I mean, you could think of other tracks like, oh, geez, there comes, Josh Kampfer right there. But, you could think of a lot of other tracks. You might think of maybe Texas or, Charlotte's kind of in their own realm when it comes to the shape of the track. But it just offers these difficult little points on these restarts, and maybe coming to the tri-oval side by side where you're a lot tighter than you would be at maybe your typical auto club, or even thinking of like, I'm not going to say Phoenix because Phoenix is his own thing, but, a lot of these other, at least, oval tracks where, you have a little bit of breathing room, but Charlotte has those pinch little corners in the tri-oval that give you a little bit more of a closer edge, and that obviously was the demise for Jake Cummings and Landon Velicky here. So one thing also to note with a little bit of rule changing here in season 14, that any driver, I believe, that gets caught up in these wrecks, or at least the reason for the wreck, has to get an EOL. So those two drivers, along with a couple of others, are going to be sent to the end of line for that incident there. Up front, it is still Aaron Brown, but right now Reese Bayham from Auburn. We talked about him a little bit, trying to maybe get that first ever win here in the CIL. He's currently up front in that outside front row, but you have Jack Stoneman, who has battled his way back up to third. Brendan Lyman from the University of Panhandle University is currently sitting in fourth. Tyler Scozen, Logan Smith, Ronan Suarez, Nate Smith, Miguel Carrera, and Matt Gagnon round out your top 10 here tonight. A lot of different names, a lot of different faces also currently making up your top 10 from where we started here tonight. Pace car, the lights are off. He's going to bring it down pit road as you see the field winding through 3 and 4 to the green flag. Aaron Brown is going to ease his way into the restart zone, and we are back underway here in Charlotte. Make that one green flag lap in the books, as Aaron Brown took a huge jump and able to stay in front of everyone. Jack Stoneman now looking to the inside of Reese Bayham, coming through 2 and 3, and then further on back there, Brendan Lyman, Logan Smith pushing on through, trying to see who wants that 4th place position. It looks like it's going to be Logan Smith for Auburn right now. That top line is consisted of 2 Auburn machines trying to chase down the Eastern Shore Community College machine, but it is all 16 right now, as he has about a 2-car length lead over everyone else here. Everyone else 2 by 2 for the most part until you get about 10th on back.
Yeah, and you see that one green car riding all the way up against the wall, looking for as much momentum that he can possibly find. I do believe that is the 77 of Miguel Carrera. Yes, it is. He's currently on the outside of that 31 of Ronan Suarez, and I talked about this high line where you can get a lot of speed and really kind of jump up the order doing it, but you have to be so careful about ripping it lap after lap after lap after lap, because it is so harmful on your tires. As here we have Brendan Lyman in that 78 machine out of Panhandle University looking for the inside of Jack Stoneman, but he's got to look behind, because that Auburn car, 34 of Logan Smith, he's right there. He's looking for the inside, but Lyman blocks him off in the middle of 2.
Taking that look on back, it's interesting to me. It looks like, I think that was Ronan Suarez got into the wall. Now Tyler Scozen's going to try to go to the inside of Logan Smith. Logan Smith has an engineering piece on the front of his car, where I think he's part of the engineering school at Auburn. As you can see, his teammate currently battling it out with Brendan Lyman for 3rd. Those 2 side by side coming down the front stretch, but a lot of these drivers representing their colors and even their different divisions within their colleges appropriately. As you see, I think that, somebody got moved up the track there. That's Ronan Suarez. I think Nate Smith might have poked his nose in there and got the 31 out of sorts coming out of 4. Both of them lose some spots too. That is the 13 of Ryan Arnold from Bryan College, someone I don't think we've ever called out here on the CIL. So he is trying to make his way up through the field right now in that red 13.
Yeah, and I think what's funny is that, Brad, the last time you probably said 13 in the CIL, you probably were talking about me, funnily enough, as the 13 is the number I loved running in this series, besides the first season, which I think I was running the 21 because Morton took the 13 from me. But once Morton left the league for a couple seasons, I took that 13 from him. I never looked back until Ryan Arnold will now be wearing that number for me, and he's doing it proud. He's doing me proud. By running up there in 7th. So we hope to see that 13 can make his way through the field, because I always root for the number 13s in the grid. because I love the number 13 so much. It's been my number ever since 3rd grade, and yeah, kind of funny that yes, there is a new face in the field running a very familiar number.
It was ironic because I was trying to learn, fresh faces. This is the one time as a commentator that it's kind of a little hard to come back to a series when there's some new faces. You got to learn the university or the college along with the name, and Ryan Arnold is a new face, and I was like, number 13, I have that ingrained in my brain as you, so I had to like start remembering to not call the 13 Lucas Moody anymore. So Ryan Arnold right now also made a move on Logan Smith to get himself up to the 6th position. Now on the back bumper of Tyler Skozen, he is pushing that cherry red, it looks like 13 machine to try and do what he can with these fresh set of tires. And luckily for you, Lucas, it's also still red. The 13 is still red. It's good, right?
I was about to say that the red probably makes it even worse for you as the caution comes out on lap 61 here. Almost made it halfway through the race, but that is the 37 of Lee Winters out of Vincennes University. As I believe how you say that, correct me if I'm mistaken. Spun around there on the infield of the quadruple.
I believe it's Vincennes, at least from what we've been calling it last season. If it is said differently, please correct me in the chat. But nonetheless, that 37 has a little bit of trouble coming out of turn 2. That Ford Mustang a little dented in. It looks like maybe on that right front. Doesn't look like too cataclysmic damage is there. As we're going to look back, you got Josh Camford, Zach Tallman, who we saw have some difficulties earlier in the race, so maybe some battle or damaged race cars as well. Nonetheless, Lee Winters trying to see what he can do. He was running that bottom line coming through 1 and 2. Josh Camford's up there. He washes up a little bit, gets a little tight coming through 1. At least initially doesn't get crazy, and this is where it does get crazy. 3 wide coming out of turn 2. Almost pretty similar to what we saw in that battle for the lead with Brian Ferwetta and everyone else involved up there. But this time, Lee Winters gets sent around and gets a little bit of damage against Zach Tallman, slides down the backstretch and keeps it relatively clean.
Yeah, Winters got a little bit tight in the middle of the corner there. He tagged Kemp for a little bit, but that contact had no harm, no foul. It wasn't until the exit of turn 4, I believe it was, either turn 2 or turn 4. It doesn't really matter in the end, but it wasn't until the exit of that corner where Kempfer, he kind of got a little bit of contact with Tallman, got a little bit loose, and came back down the track. As you see, it's all so tight, 3 wide on the exit of 2 here. And yeah, maybe Winters could have left a little bit more room, but if you go on it from the outside camera, you do see Camphor getting a little bit of sideways action and coming down the track and hitting him. It's going to be a really hard one to call for the stewards, and I honestly wouldn't be upset with the racing incident there.
Well, looks like the 141 got assessed the penalty for that incident there, but nonetheless, everyone's going to have to take an EOL as it looks like everyone came down pit road. We had a couple of, well, not everyone, but a couple of cars came down pit road, I should say, to put on some fresh tires there. And as they are running, you can see it looks like Cade Corbin might actually be the only driver who did not pit. That is the 08, the University of Alabama Huntsville machine, who told me before the race, do not commentator curse me, so it looks like I will stop talking about him. And it looks further on back, Brendan Lyman, Aaron Brown, James Bowman, somebody who we saw have that battle with the Embry-Riddle machine, Brian Ferwetta, end up a little crazy for him, but he's still back up in the 4th now. Might be a little bit of a strategy call, but also that 18 is someone to look out for. We know he is fast. And all that being said, it looks like Cabe is gonna hold out on staying out and taking the lead in this front row. Alongside him is Brendan Lyman, that Oklahoma Panhandle State University machine. We saw he had speed last season, and it seems like it's kind of keeping that pace this year, where he will battle through the field and end up somewhere up in this top little gaggle of cars, make his way and have a good time. Sometimes have unfortunate endings, but nonetheless, that 78 is fast when he has that speed, and especially when he has the fresh tires. So Cade's just going to do a little bit of, warming up the tires, got to get himself ready. Thought he was going to drop to the end of the line for a second there.
Yeah, and he didn't make me promise that I couldn't commentators curse him, so I will bring up the fact that a long-running theme in the CIL, and Brad, I know this is one you can agree with, has been drivers staying out on older tires, and it absolutely messing up the flow of the pack and causing big incidents. I hope that doesn't happen here tonight with the 08, but most notably, at least it seemed like to me, anytime Nick Stockner or some of the other Clemson guys would stay out on old tires, it always ended up in chaos with multiple cars getting involved in big accidents towards the front. So let's see if Corbin can use these old tires and not lose too much pace. It's very difficult to do, though.
Corbin will lead us back to the green flag. He gets a car's length out. He's able to get a great jump. That inside line, whenever you are able to lead it, you have that lead pretty much on lock. Oh, it looks like that Stoneman machine is right upon the back bumper of Brendan Lyman. And as we all said that, Aaron Brown pushes his way through. He's now looking for the lead, looking to the inside of the 08 as everyone else trying to fan out, use these fresh tires while they can. And it looks like Aaron Brown's easily going to be able to get to the inside and not as easily past the 08. Little three-wide action further on back. But Cade Corbin battling on the outside, nose to nose across the stripe. That is Cade Corbin leading that lap. And he's going to keep that lead at least for now. But Aaron Brown in that 16, he is fast. And if you're Cade, you got to keep on going. You can't just keep on holding up. Oh, Brendan Lyman into the wall. He's sliding on down 3 wide now for the lead. He's looking to the inside. And now Cade Corbin jumping out. And actually, Aaron Brown's going to back out of that 3-wide battle. He's seen a little bit of craziness happen when 3-wide happens. But Brendan Lyman, who pushed the envelope, is going to take the lead and lead across the stripe at lap 67, marking the halfway point here in Charlotte.
I mean, that was such an incredible move from Lyman. He got an amazing run, ripping the outside of the corner prior, went all the way down, bottom of 3-wide. Brown's looking to do the same thing here, but he's going to take his run around the outside of Cade Corbin. He goes. Now he's looking for Lyman as well. The 16 of Aaron Brown looking for the lead, but he's got to get past Brendan Lyman. That Oklahoma Panhandle State University car rushes up in front of the Eastern Shore Community College, and Aaron Brown, his run is going to be put down for now, and he's going to have to bide his time. Into turn 1 they go.
And all that shuffling happened up front. Everywhere you look throughout this field, everyone has been trying to do what they could with these fresh tires. You see a little 3-wide action actually further on back for 7th. It's Ronan Suarez, Aaron Ramon, and Tyler Skozen. Actually, Skozen, it looks like he backed out of that battle, and now it's back to 2-wide action back there, as that is the only 2-wide battle for now. But right now, it's also Ryan Arnold, James Bowman. Those two, some new faces in the CIL, and nonetheless battling out for a top 5 position. That University of Kentucky Wildcat machine running that bottom line, trying to hold off that charging 13 of not Lucas Moody, but instead it is Ryan Arnold from Bryan College who's able to secure that 5th place position. And it's impressive, that 13. We haven't seen him, you know, he might not have the greatest start, but nonetheless, he is charging when it matters, getting on the second half of this race on the right foot, as he's now trying to maybe take that 4th place position from Jack Stoneman, who's in a battle with Cade Corbin. Corbin holding his own on that inside line, defending on what he can, but he's going to lose another position on those older tires, but slide right up in front of Ryan Arnold.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that number 13 on him, which will make him quick. You know, it made me quick back in the day, and it is good to see that 3rd, 5th, and 6th position are all rookies to this league. So the rookies are coming out, they're charging, and they are not leaving any victims, as Ryan Arnold looking to make his move around James Bowman. Fellow rookies heading side by side into turn 1. It's just ahead of that, it's Jake Stoneman looking around the outside of Cade Corbin, and he does get clear by the exit of turn 2. And Jack Stoneman, one of the quicker drivers. We saw him up here earlier in the race. Of course, he did start in 5th, back up to 3rd, and now he's looking to challenge Aaron Brown for 2nd place, because Aaron Brown falling off 7/10 of a second now from Brendan Lyman, your leader.
You gotta start thinking, if this goes green, did Lyman burn up his stuff or not? I mean, a 7/10 gap, if it's not burning up your tires, then it is just pure skill to pull that type of gap. So we'll see if the 78 is able to keep that lead, as we're going to ride on board with the Alabama Huntsville machine going into 3 there. You can see he dove it in a little too hard there going into 3, but on the outside of Ronan Suarez. Right now, the 08 doing a great job on older tires. Granted, not absolutely depleted tires, but any tires that are more than about 8 laps old here in Charlotte, will feel a heck of a lot worse than everyone else in this field. And Cade keeping it on that lower line, defending what he can. Oh, Ronan gets a little squirrely, it looks like, coming out of 2 there. Gonna check him up a little bit, and that's gonna give James Bowman that 6th place position, and maybe also Tyler Skozen.
Yeah, tires matter so much around Charlotte Motor Speedway. I remember one of my first races here in the Collegiate iRacing League. It was either season 11 or season 10, I can't remember, but I qualified 2nd around here, and I just completely ruined my tires, and I ended up finishing that race all the way back in 23rd, just from lack of knowing how to tire save and lack of overall competency in the car. But I learned a big lesson that night, and it is that you have to save your tires, especially around these big intermediate tracks, these 1.5 miles like Charlotte that really just eat up at your right front if you're not careful, and especially on those exits can eat up at your rear tires as well, because there's so much banking and it flattens out so quickly. As here we have a battle, it looks like between Logan Smith and Ronan Suarez behind, as the 34 and the 31 cars are looking to get involved in that battle for 8th place. But no, actually Logan Smith, he's looking forward. He's looking at the 28 of Tyler Skozen as the UNOH machine is going to opt for the inside line, and Logan Smith not able to get it, but there's a crash ahead. Is that the 13? It is. No, Ryan Arnold into the wall. He drops back 10 places, but we stay green.
Hard into the outside wall for that Bryan College machine. He was charging up through the field. We kept keeping tabs on him, and oh yeah, he is definitely hurting. He had a hard hit on that right side into the outside of turn 4. It was a battle for 4th, I believe. Oh, with Cade Corbin. For the record, I didn't say anything bad about Cade, if this is going to be a commentator's curse, but all that, oh, it just looks like the 13 checks up a little bit, gets a little loose coming out of 4, and that unfortunately also collects the 08 as the 13 gets a hard hit to the outside wall with Cade. Those two, unfortunately, since that was not a yellow flag, are going to have to just deal with what they have or go down pit road and pretty much end their competitive days right now. And all that being said, no one else collected. Everyone checked up when they needed to, and we are still green here in Charlotte.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Arnold there just got a crazy fishtail coming out of 4, and Cade Corbin was unfortunately just a very innocent bystander that nowhere to go. And both the 08 and the 13 took a hard hit into the wall, which, yeah, they'll either have to come down to the pits to fix that damage and almost completely ruin their race, as you said, or they'll have to stay out a little bit longer and just grudge it out to the next caution until they can get some of that damage repaired. But here we go, looking at that 61 of Nate Smith. He's, of course, out of Mississippi State University. He's looking to hunt down that 31 of Ronan Suarez out of Santa Monica College. And the 31's kind of a name I've seen a lot, just kind of, you know, in the top 10, just really having this good upper midfield pace. And he looks to be saving his tires pretty well here so far. So I would be surprised if Nate Smith is really able to get past him. And I also wouldn't be surprised if we see Suarez making some moves towards the latter end of the stint.
We have some new schools, and one, we might not be talking about right now, but University of Northwestern Ohio, we have Christian Garish, who's currently battling for 16th with Edward Sanchez. I saw his name pop up a couple times, another new face in the CIL, and everyone currently still going. You can see, beautiful car. I like these liveries. I mean, I am a fool for, some new fresh paint schemes, and that is one from the 06. Christian having his first race here in the CIL, currently battling out with a lot of these drivers, just trying to keep pace here. You can actually see riding on board right now. And you can see also that wheel shaking a little bit here. Charlotte is not the smoothest, drive you could have when it comes to oval racing, but nonetheless, you can see he's just keeping it on that inside line, trying to keep it cool, calm, and collected. That UNOH machine, that season-long sponsor as well here for the College Cup Series, is making it work. He's still in it. Everyone pretty much, I think, as long as keeping it on the road. As we keep on looking forward here, there's a lot more battles going on at the front, and that is actually between Jack Stoneman and Brennan Lyman, also getting a switch up, it looks like, in the running order, as Brennan Lyman now falls to 3rd.
I also love a lot of these new liveries we're seeing here in the field. It's been a while since I've gotten to kind of view the CIL from this this top-down look and get to see all the cars in their full beauty here. I do remember last semester, I spent a good amount of time on making my livery for this series before I dropped out due to just completely overworked by school and everything I was doing in the Ball State esports program here. I don't know if you remember too much of that livery, Brad, but I remember I had a couple bit of like weird, funny pictures on it. And of course I was running that matte black, shiny red that I always love to run. But yeah, so far my favorite livery here tonight is definitely Madison Ulrich's 48. I'm so biased to music artists that I love, and KDA is one of like my favorite bands to ever do it, if you can really call them a band, because ZTRL, we have one of the drivers in there that runs a 21 Pilots livery. This first time I saw that, my eyes absolutely lit up, and I instantly talked about it on broadcast and started dropping all my lore that I have with 21 Pilots. So I love when drivers put, musical artists or just things they really are interested in, things they really love on their car, because I know there's a long-running joke in the CIL of the 3 logos that I put on the back of my cars. I don't know if you quite remember them, but I had 3 musical artist logos that I always kept on the back of my machine.
Oh, I remember the AJR. I feel like that popped in my mind
that's the big
most. One. Outside of that, if you show me a picture, I feel like it would be like one of those deeply embedded memories where I would just be like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that livery. Because, I mean, granted, year over year, Ball State, I think, has one of the great liveries. And you guys have a great variety of colors and everything like that. But, looking at, like, Brendan Lyman in the 78, that Oklahoma Panhandle State University machine, switched it up this season, and it's looking fresh as ever as he's running that outside line. Aaron Brown right in front of him, along with Jack Stoneman, who actually is only right in front of the 16. You can see maybe a little bit of lap traffic also joining into the battle here, as these two are trying to figure it out for that front spot on the grid right now. The University of Northwestern Ohio machine, he is pushing the limits, trying to get that UNOH machine to try and do something. He's currently getting a little bit of draft from that car in front. Obviously, this is not a draft-dependent track, but any draft might be helpful around the back and front stretch. So he's thinking that lap car right now, as the 25 is trying to hold off the 16, and Brendan Lyman's still there, just waiting for something to happen, maybe waiting for these two to get into a battle, or maybe just join the battle himself as he's looking to the outside of Aaron Brown, trying to get a run on that outside line.
Yeah, we've seen a 78 have a lot of pace today, especially using that outside line. As here we go now on board with the AGR fan himself, Aaron Brown. And you see Brown ducks to that inside line, opting for that line that saves his tires, will preserve his run for longer. And Lyman all the way up top in that Mustang. He's running that high line, looking for as much speed as he can possibly find down in this straight. And time will tell, can the 78 find the track position on this 16? And if he can't do it soon, he's going to lose a lot of pace over the course of this stint. He's going to get really, really hurt by him taking this higher line, just essentially burning out his tires. But it seems to be like he's gaining like a little bit, as you can see, Brad, in the start of the corners, but not able to use that run to much advantage as they pass one of the lap cars there.
That was Ryan Smith, who's now put a lap down here. That's from Auburn, and he is currently, well, actually 3 laps down. Correct me there. He is 3 laps down, and there is currently still 29 cars on the lead lap. So a lot of student and alumni alike still on the lead lap. If a caution does come out, a little bit of a push there from Brendan Lyman to the 16 going into turn 3. And you can see Aaron Brown able to roll with that speed and keep that about car length buffer to the 78. And you can see perfectly the pros and cons of running that inside and outside line. And you can see Brendan Lyman getting heck of a run coming through the front and back stretch using that outside line, getting the momentum. But Aaron Brown, you're traveling considerably, a little bit less of a distance, and just getting yourself a better spot and position going into each corner, able to, get yourself a little bit further ahead of the car behind. And, this might be the ultra defensive, position to be in if you're that 16. But right now, Brendan Lyman making that outside line work as he's roaring to the outside for that second place position. He is actually going to clear him going into turn 1. Wow, that panhandle machine able to just, pretty much do everything he could to get around the 16 coming through the front stretch there, making it look easy, as these two now about a half second back from Jack Stoneman and about a half second on back to James Bowman in all of those gaggle of cars too.
Yeah, and I don't think Aaron Brown really wanted to fight that move too much. He kind of just could tell that Lyman was burning out his tires, using that outside line, pushing that car a little bit more. And I think Brown is super okay with just letting him by, not wanting to waste up his tires and trying to battle the 78, but just saying, okay, you can pass me now, and in 20 laps time, we'll see who's the one laughing. When your tires are dead and my tires are still perfectly fine, because you can tell when we rode on board with a 16, how locked in he was, how calm, how stoic he was, even with the pressure of the 78 behind him. He was so consistent, lap after lap, running that inside line, staying calm, staying collected, and most importantly, staying focused. As behind we have a battle as Logan Smith is just able to get past James Bowman. Jake Cummings now looking around the outside of that 18 machine, as that Converse University now will be able to get ahead, as now he has to chase down that 34 of Auburn University. Jake Cummings, once again, one of the big names in Collegiate iRacing League. One of the only names that I recognized from my first season that still is here racing tonight. So he is super experienced, and you always have to watch out for that 95, of course, after Lightning McQueen, as he's going to now chase down Logan Smith.
And, he has definitely probably been mentioned probably in the top 5 amount of times in CIL streams to this point. That 95 of Jake Cummings, he's been represented by 2 different colleges, and nonetheless, he still remained the same speed, same type of pace, and he is somebody you don't want to see in your rear view, especially on these longer runs. Jake Cummings is great no matter the race course, the race type, wherever you are. He seems to always be up front when it comes to CIL action. So you can see he's looking actually to the inside of Tyler Skozen. That 28 from UNOH is roaring to the outside now. As you can see now, Tyler Skozen actually able to make that run off of 2 and hold on to the 6th place position, or 5th place position as it stands. And also James Bowman entering the picture a little bit there, just getting in the rear view mirror of Jake Cummings. And Cummings takes a little loose coming out of 4. That's not going to ruin his momentum though. He's able to take that 5th place position away, and now Tyler Skozen's got to defend that UNOH machine and see if he can keep that 6th place position. And I think UNOH has a considerably larger roster in the CIL here this season compared to the seasons prior, as we're riding on board with James Bowman representing Kentucky proudly, as you see all Kentucky. No, this is purely business here for James Bowman.
Yeah, and once again, look at the calm face that Bowman is putting on. You can tell that shows experience out of a driver. Being able to maintain a steady, focused mindset is super important. And I know that there's been some funny moments when you guys ride on board with me, of me sticking my tongue out whenever I get super focused. So we'll see if we can catch one of the drivers doing that, as sometimes, you're too locked in, you're too focused, and the tongue just slips out as you're trying to really get some pace down. Oh my gosh, Bowman and the UNOH car of Tyler Skozen get really close there on the exit of 4. We talk about Jake Cummings. He is the 7th most experienced driver in this league in terms of CIL, having 88 race starts in just the Collegiate Cup Series alone, not even counting the Formula College League, where he finished 2nd just last semester. And out of those 88 starts, he got 6 wins, 23 podiums, and 50 top 5s. That is an insane top 5 to start ratio, well over 60%.
And you said it exactly. He has a stat line to gawk at when you look back on CIL history. And along with a couple others, he's probably considered on the Mount Rushmore for the CIL. You got to probably your Jared Kahlers, your Matthew Morton, Daniel Nanny. It looks like some aggressive blocking also back there for some positions further on back. But Logan Smith and Brendan Lyman actually battling out for that last step of the podium. These two trying to figure it out, as you see Brendan Lyman on the outside, and that's Logan Smith on the inside. Auburn trying to take on the 78 from Oklahoma Panhandle State and see what he can do on that inside line. You got these worn tires, which make it a little more difficult to confidently hold a line. And, when you come out of the corners, especially here at Charlotte, it's a little more difficult to gauge if you're going to have a run and confidently keep that run going when you're side by side. Because if you're Aaron Brown right now, you can run whatever line you want. But if you are Logan Smith trying to make that inside work, you got to make sure you have enough room for Brendan Lyman on the outside, who's just going to rip on by you because he has the momentum coming out of turn 4. But all that being said and done, these two not letting it quit as they are still side by side going in the one. And actually, Logan Smith sends it deep, and he's going to slide right up in front of that 78 and take that last step of the podium for now.
Yeah, and as these guys are battling it out, you brought up a really interesting point with the Mount Rushmore of CCS drivers. And I think, yes, obviously, has to be Kaler, has to be Morton, has to be Nanny. In that last spot, I think it's going to be highly contested by either Jake Cummings or, of course, our Muhammad Alif. Now, Alif has 7 wins, Jake has 6. So it's very, very tight. And it's, of course, Alif does have less top 5s, but he has more podiums in less races. So I think that 4th spot, of course, I'm gonna back my teammate, our Muhammad Alif, but it is definitely highly contested for that 4th spot in the Mount Rushmore of Collegiate Cup Series drivers.
And I really hope I'm not sparking a debate here, because I did not even think of my top 4 before saying that. So maybe that might be something that people start thinking about here later through the season. I'm hoping, nobody gets hurt feelings by not being on that Mount Rushmore, but all nonetheless, I was, Jake Cummings is very, very experienced, and I know a heck of it. I am not nowhere near that Mount Rushmore. I might be at the base staring up at it for my time when I was a driver in the CIL. And all that being said and done, all these drivers have done a lot of, great things, different leagues, and all, like you said earlier, in the collegiate sphere as well, representing their universities proudly. And while we're all talking about this right now, Logan Smith is actually looking to the inside of Aaron Brown for that 2nd place position. Jack Stoneman is holding off these two, trying to block a little bit of both lines, but Logan Smith is going to file on back as Brendan Lyman falling back to about 7/10 behind this battle now, trying to battle it out for 4th. But right now our eyes are glued to the top 3 as they are in this little pack coming through the tri-oval.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I talked about. You see Brendan Lyman has fallen back down to 4th place, now 1.1 seconds behind Aaron Brown. And I could kind of tell that Brown didn't want to fight that because he knew he would get the 78 machine in the long run, as Brendan Lyman does fall down another place. But here we go, Logan Smith to the inside of Aaron Brown. That 34 car looking to move his Auburn machine into 2nd place. He's using that super grippy inside blue line there, but Aaron Brown, he's got that outside line, he's got the run, and through the quad oval they go side by side down the main straight. And Logan Smith has to file in line as Aaron Brown blocks the move down to the turn 1.
All that being said and done, looking right now at your student and alumni standings, it looks like Reese Bayham is currently your highest running alumni, but actually Brian Ferwetta, who got caught up in that battle for the lead incident earlier, is battled his way up to 8th. Actually, Brendan Lyman has fallen back to 7th now. He is quickly falling back through the top 10 as he's now just holding on to 7th place. But Brian Ferwetta is going to be right up on his back bumper. But this battle for 2nd is still on go, and Logan Smith is going to poke his nose in there. And Aaron Brown is right there trying to close the door, but he could not. The 34 is going to have a run coming through the backstretch, and he's going to blaze it on through down through 3. He's actually going to have the deeper run in the turn 3 and going to be clear coming through turn 4. Jack Stoneman gets to about a half-second lead because of this battle. And all that being said and done, it looks like someone actually might be going down pit road. I saw some smoke, and potentially, I don't think we're in the realm for any pit stops yet, but they cannot make it to the end, I believe, with their current setup and their current strategy. So if this stays green, it could be interesting towards the end of this race.
And that was a really, really strong move there from Logan Smith. And Aaron Brown, who has been tire saving so much of this race, now gets put back into 3rd place. And that's really good for Jack Stoneman, because it'll allow that 25 machine to not only he gained a lot of time while those two were fighting, but his main rival to actually not win this race is now back into 3rd place instead of 2nd. I mean, because I saw Aaron Brown saving a lot, and with how much I know him and how experienced he is, that was probably one of his biggest rivals to win this race. But Logan Smith, as I say that, he's finding a lot of pace here, and he is bringing that gap down to just under 0.4 of a second. And I also forgot another driver that could be on the Mount Rushmore. I'm going to backtrack all the way to this because I thought of it. Clint Halterman does as well have 6 wins, but in my mind, he is completely shut out of the argument for taking me out in Watkins and taking away my first ever Collegiate Cup Series win. So for that alone, I'm going to have to take him out of the running. And Christian Hill also brought up a point about where is he on the Mount Rushmore. And I'd say I'll put you on the Mount Rushmore of Watkins Glen Glazers. I think that's the Mount Rushmore that that Hill goes on.
And oh my, and I don't know where to go with that. I really don't. As lap traffic actually getting into a little bit of a scuffle there with Jack Stoneman and Logan Smith, making it a little more difficult for those two. But currently, you know, as I was looking at the chat, and there looks to be a little bit of a poll here to see if the race will go green through the end of the last 20 or so laps. Now 21 to go. Currently, it seems like more people are voting yes than initially, but all that being said and done, it wouldn't be unfamiliar to the CIL for a potential late caution flag, because a lot of the times, I would say last season, we would have a green and white checkered to finish the race. I don't know the stat, but I believe it's at least half the time.
Yeah, and that's something very common that you see in a lot of these leagues is as it gets to the end of the race, the drivers begin to get more antsy. And you see battles like this as Logan Smith now going for the outside of Jack Stoneman. This is for the lead. It's Auburn University versus, Auburn University versus University of Northwestern Ohio. And on this occasion, the Auburn University car wins it out as Logan Smith now to the point. He's looking to win what I believe would be his first ever CIL race, as I'm just going to double check that really quickly, but I don't believe that Logan Smith has ever stood on the top step of the podium. He has not. He has 5 wins and 12 top 5s, but Logan Smith has never tasted that gold medal. And with 18 laps to go here, he's in prime position to do so for the first time here tonight.
And what a move by Auburn's Logan Smith. I mean, when you want to get the season started off right, you can't think of anything better than standing on that top step of the podium. And also, if you want to start out your CIL career the right way, you also want to be Jack Stoneman and maybe win your first ever CIL race. But a podium is still some sweet success. So as these things have fizzled out, it looks like for the time being, and everyone's staying in single file, we're going to cut back to a little bit of a break. We will be right back from Charlotte here tonight.
Diesel powers America. From trucks and trains to tractors and excavators, and the need for skilled technicians is exploding.
The opportunities in the diesel world are endless. Here is everything that you'll ever need to succeed.
At the University of Northwestern Ohio, you'll train on real engines, real rigs, and real industry tools, preparing you for careers in transportation, construction, agriculture, and beyond. Apply now at unoh.edu.
We're back at the Hall of Fame 200, and the action has not stopped. As you see, the battle for the lead is still ongoing. Jack Stoneman looked to the inside momentarily, but he's going to have to back out of that battle as Logan Smith is going to roar on through using that outside line like he has all night to get that 0.3 of a second lead to the 25. And right now, you know, you got a couple lap cars coming through, and it looks like also people taking some potential pit stop strategy right now, maybe undercut a couple of these drivers. But all that being said and done, you know, if this thing goes green, it could throw a strategy call maybe up in the air. Not completely sure how many drivers are really going to be able to make it to the end, if any. So that'll be something interesting to watch. But right now, Brian Ferretta is somebody who is pushing his way back through the field. That 248 from Embry-Riddle right now got his way into the top 5. You can actually see him in your screen now as that 248 maybe trying to get back on the podium, maybe get an interview and potentially get back to the lead. But he's got 14 laps to try and make that happen, which is pretty short when it comes to Charlotte.
Yeah, and this question mark of fuel is one that we're going to take from here to the end of the race. And if there is a possibility of making to the end, are there people in the field that are fuel saving to try and hit their number? I mean, you think anybody that's kind of within this top 10, within 10 seconds of the leader, essentially, they are in position to win this race if they have been fuel saving, if they can make it to the end, given that nobody else is fuel saving and that nobody else can make it to the end as well. So there's a huge question mark in all of our minds on whether or not these guys can make it to the end. And if they can, Logan Smith definitely going to be the favorite to win it. But with the fact that Jack Stoneman, Aaron Brown, Jake Cummings, a lot of the really quick guys are falling off of Logan Smith, either that 34 has found unbelievable pace over the offseason, and good job to him if he has, or they're all fuel saving behind him. And we don't know the answer at the moment, and only time will tell. So you guys have to stick around to the end to see what the answer is.
Now it looks like Logan Smith is going to do a little bit of conservation in his, he saved his tires enough to where he's built himself to almost a 7/10 of a second lead now in that Auburn machine. We're looking back at a battle for 11th. It's between Matt Gagnon and Edward Sanchez, and actually there's about 10 laps to go as we're riding on board with the 40.
Matt Gagnon able to defend from Edward Sanchez at the moment, but that 26 machine, he's had a lot of bad luck earlier in this race, Brad, and he's going to be racing with fuel under his flame right now. He's going to be racing passionately and vengeantly, as well as, I don't know if that's a word, but I made it up and we're going to roll with it, as that 26 Brute College machine gets a great run off of 2, hits the wall a little bit going into 3, but not able to go anywhere with that run as he's going to opt for that inside line.
While we have time in the closing moments, we want to shout out again some of those who are able to make this all possible, starting with the NAPA Longland Corporation. For your car, truck, SUV, and heavy-duty needs, visit NAPA and get the NAPA know-how, and that is Logan McKinn coming into the pits. And along with that, UNOH, looking to land a career in iRacing? Begin your education at the university that started it all. UNOH works for some of the nation's premier race teams and gives students the hands-on experience needed to launch their careers. Turn your passion into a career at www.unoh.edu. That is, again, www.unoh.edu. And UNOH, someone who has a large presence right now in these closing laps. Everyone kind of from that UNOH field throughout the field here tonight. You can see Tyler Skozen in that 28. He is somebody to watch out for, trying to crack into the top 5. Looking to the inside of Brian Ferretta in that 248 we said was charging, but actually Tyler Skozen wants to put a nail in the coffin there and take that 5th spot away. Also, Reese Bayham's going to tag in behind and take that top alumni spot away from the 334 and take that 6th place away from Brian Ferretta. That Auburn machine trying to maybe make it 2 Auburn cars in the top 5, as there's a gaggle of cars in front of him.
There's an absolute hornet's nest of lapped cars and lead traffic going on here on the exit of 4. And as we get to the closing stages of this race, Logan Smith still putting on good lap after good lap here. As that 34 machine already 0.8 of a second ahead of Jack Stoneman now, and with 6 laps to go. 6 laps to go here, Brad. This question mark of fuel is seemingly answered at this point, and it does seem like Logan Smith can make it to the end. So now it's all about putting in consistent lap after consistent lap, and he might be able to win from 22nd position. As you can see on the screen right now, he is up 21 positions of the day. Your other big movers is, of course, being Matt Gagnon up 11 spots into 10th, and Lee Winters up 21 spots into 15th.
Making it count when it matters most. Logan Smith battled his way up more than half of the field to currently sitting up front about 0.8 of a second. Jack Stoneman, also Aaron Brown, and Jake Cummings got up modestly from where they started. But all that being said and done, they are still chasing that 34 Auburn machine as we are coming to 4 laps to go now. And all of that said and done, Jack Stoneman, he is really falling back now from the 34 machine, so he is going to have to try and gather some sort of tire, some sort of traction, and maybe battle his way back up, because now he's fallen to about a second behind the 34. The 34 has done a great job at tire conservation comparative to everyone else in the field, and it looks like Tyler Skozen might be also in that realm as he's passing Jake Cummings now for 4th and able to get that move done.
Yeah, the closest battle in the top 10 at the moment is that between the 28 and the 95, as you saw on your live timing there. Tyler Skozen just getting past Jake Cummings there with 4 laps to go. So it's a great move there from the 28, able to get his University of Northwestern Ohio car up into 4th position. So now we have two UNOH cars up in that top 4, of course, being represented by Jack Stoneman and Tyler Skosian. So a great job from our series sponsors to really get some good drivers in here. And look at that, a 2-4 for the first race of the UNOH College Cup Series. They can be super proud of how they're starting off this season.
Tyler Skosian, somebody we saw last season, but UNOH might be trying to, plant their flag here in the CIL for season 14. He has, Tyler Skosian, we saw a lot of speed last season, as it looks like Jack Stoneman goes down pit road, actually, as it seems. He's going down pit road, the 25. He's going down. He might not be able to make it on fuel. He's taking a very, very late entry into pit road. That's going to send him down the standings and potentially down through 16th, where we have only 15 cars left on the lead lap. Everyone trying to figure out, maybe, can I make it on fuel? As you see the 28 now, Tyler Skosian coming to the white flag, I believe, here. And this is the white flag brought to you by the Longland Corporation. For your car, truck, SUV, and heavy-duty needs, visit NAPA and get the NAPA know-how. And that 34, we talked about him charging his way up through the field. He has been in the series for a couple seasons now, but that 34 has been trying to get his season started on the right foot. And it is Logan Smith coming through 3 and 4. Fresh air and nobody around him. It is Logan Smith, the winner here in Charlotte Motor Speedway, and the winner of the Hall of Fame 200.
Wow, big congratulations to Logan Smith, a first-time winner here in the Collegiate Cup Series. I know that this must mean absolutely so much to him. It is a super emotional victory, as the CIL matters and means so much to these drivers. And congratulations to the rest of your podium sitters. Of course, going to be Aaron Brown and Tyler Skosian, as Tyler Skosian is giving Logan Smith some victory bumps there, as it was a great race from him. And in the end, he's the one that tire and fuel saved the best. So Brad, he's the one that's going to be able to come on top of it all.
And Tyler Skosian did a great job on getting up to second place at the end of that race. And you could see Landon Veliky joining in on the Auburn celebration here tonight. Reese Bayham also included in that little Auburn team that is going to be loving it here to start off season 14, as Logan Smith is going to burn it down here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And as we watch Logan Smith do some burnouts in the quad oval here of Charlotte Motor Speedway, I cannot imagine the emotions that he must be feeling as your race winner here of the first race in the UNOH Collegiate Cup Series Championship. Of course, season 14 gets started off exactly how the 34 wants it, as he's taking his Auburn machine down Victory Road.
While Logan is celebrating here at home, that War Eagle machine is going to have a great night. But first, we're going to take a little break here. Join us in a couple moments here back on Green Flag TV when we have a moment to talk to your podium position drivers and get the race results here from Charlotte.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Diesel powers America, from trucks and trains to tractors and excavators, and the need for skilled technicians is exploding.
The opportunities in the diesel world are endless. Here is everything that you'll ever need to succeed.
At the University of Northwestern Ohio, you'll train on real engines, real rigs, and real industry tools, preparing you for careers in transportation, construction, agriculture, and beyond. Apply now at unoh.edu.
Welcome back, everyone, to Charlotte Motor Speedway, to the Hall of Fame 200, to kick off season 14. And let me tell you, it was a absolute treat here in Charlotte. We haven't been here for a couple seasons, but tonight it is going to be celebrations in Auburn as we see Logan Smith taking home that win for Auburn in that 34. Tyler Skozen from UNOH follows up in the second place position. Aaron Brown from Eastern Shore Community College finishes in third. We will talk to them in a moment. But rounding out your top 10, it is Jake Cummings from Converse, Reese Bayham from Auburn, James Bowman from University of Kentucky starting out his CIL career in the right direction, getting a top 10. Nate Smith from Mississippi State in 7th. Edward Sanchez from Brook in 8th. Matt Gagnon from the University of New Hampshire finishes in 9th. And Ronan Suarez from Santa Monica finishes in 10th.
And then finishing tonight's kickoff of the season 14 is going to be Josh Kampfer from Kansas State University, followed by Alex Jones out of Rose-Hulman, Lee Winters out of Vincennes University, Brian Ferwita out of Embry-Riddle, Jack Stoneman of the UNOH, Austin DeLong out of PCT, Trey Lambrecht out of Texas A&M, Aaron Raymond also out of Texas A&M, and then your top 20 is rounded out by Landon Vlecki out of Auburn and Brandon Lyman out of Oklahoma Panhandle State University.
In 21st is Aaron Cyrus from University of Alabama in Huntsville. Ethan Head from University of Tennessee finishes 22nd. Carter Capini from Paul Smith College in 23rd. Connor Bingle from University of Alabama, Huntsville in 24th. Zach Tallman from Penn College of Technology in the 71 finishes 25th. Rounding out your top 30 is Andrew Voigt, Roger Primo, Ryan Smith, Madison Ulrich, and Christian Garish.
And then your last 8 cars of the field is Logan McKim out of St. Clair, Cade Corbin out of University of Alabama Huntsville, Miguel Carrera from University of Houston Downtown, Ryan Arnold in that 13 out of Bryan College, Caleb Larson from Minnesota State, Andrew McGill from Auburn, Keegan Calick from just Canada, I believe that's St. Clair, and Clint Halterman out of Antarctica, but we usually see him out of UNC Charlotte. So bit of a funny mix-up that we had out of 37th, 30th position, but that is your whole 38-car running finishing order.
And now we're going to shift on over to some interviews here, and we're going to bring in tonight's winner, first time ever winning here in the UNOH College Cup Series. It is Logan Smith from Auburn. Logan, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Well, it was a great end to the race here tonight. And Logan, it just seemed like on that green flag run, you just had a resurgence. You were just battling through the top 5 here. But also tonight, you started back in 22nd. Take us through your night and how you got yourself to the front of this field.
Yeah, well, first off, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without him, I wouldn't be here and be talking to you guys and doing this. But yeah, I actually qualified 22nd or something, but I accidentally missed the start, so I actually started in the pits from dead last, and I just knew I had a a long way to go with a lot of new guys in here. I didn't know how the racing was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to go green or if there was going to be a lot of restarts, but I was just banking on it going green. I practiced long runs a good bit. That's kind of my strong suit at these kind of races is the longer runs. So I just kind of took my time, tried to get track position, but also take care of my tires the best I could. I let some people pass me and saved a tire to get around them later. And it was tough. The dirty air made it really hard there at the end. Getting those last couple spots was some of the hardest I've worked to pass somebody. But once I got that clean air, I could just coast it around the bottom and just let it roll.
And this being your 45th race here in the College Cup Series, just pulling up some stats here, but sixth time on the podium, but first time on the top step of that podium. How does tonight feel winning this race, getting season 14 started off on the right foot?
Yeah, honestly, I was never expecting my first win to be at one of these. I figured it'd be at Talladega or Daytona or Atlanta or something, because that was kind of where I would get podiums at before. But to finally get a win and it to be at Charlotte, I mean, I love this place. This place is awesome on here and in real life. It's been a grind, but it's I'm just at a loss of words for it. Really, it was I don't know how that happened. Really, it was just like I had another set of tires or something compared to other people. I don't know, but just being patient really paid off, and hopefully we can keep this going and keep being patient throughout the year. Keep getting good races like that. That was a great race. Big improvement from last season. I really loved the product that we put on. So I'm hoping that we can keep doing that all season, and maybe we can keep getting finishes like this, and I can keep talking to y'all.
And that really Auburn had a great night tonight too. Of you had two people in the top five of Reese Bayhem finishing in fifth. How is Auburn feeling? Coming into this race, and also how is your team feeling together wise? Is you guys really practicing together, or is it kind of a solo effort?
Yeah, we had a team practice last night, and me and Reese felt pretty good about it. But I was kind of wanting a long run. He was kind of wanting a shorter run. I know Ryan, he's newer, so he's still trying to get a feel for everything. But the work that he's been putting in shouldn't go unnoticed. He's drastically improving really fast, and Andrew is he can't race all the time. He doesn't get as consistent with it as we do. But I know if he was able to practice and do as much as we do, he'd be right up there with us. But we feel really good. It's a really good start to the semester, a good start to the season. I appreciate everybody on the Auburn iRacing team. This is my last year, or this is my last semester. I'm a senior. This is my last semester. I'm graduating in the spring, so it was good to get a win while I was here. This team started while I've been down here in college, so it's nice to get a NASCAR Cup Series banner for our little team room that we have on campus. So it's great.
And before we let you go and celebrate the rest of the night here tonight, is there anyone you'd like to shout out, Logan?
Yeah, just my friends and family, my parents, my girlfriend, everybody watching back home and rooting for me. They watch all these races, and even when sometimes you see maybe 5 laps of green flag racing, they still watch and root for me. Everybody on the Auburn iRacing team that allows me to even venture into this world. I didn't even have iRacing when I got down here, and now as a senior, I'm winning a college race in a league. So it's a good feeling. I couldn't have done it without them to help me along the way. But yeah, just everybody that supported me, and hopefully we can keep this going.
Good deal. And Logan, we look forward to potentially talking to you next week and finish, have a great night. Talk to, have a great night with the team, and we will see you next Monday night.
All right, thanks guys.
And we will, and that is your first place finisher here tonight for his first ever UNOH College Cup Series win in Logan Smith from Auburn. And we'd like to welcome in the audience from the High Tide Racing Lead broadcast, where Jane Hopp won at Michigan. And for now, we are going to jump to Lucas Moody, who is back on pit road with our second place finisher, the UNOH machine of Tyler Skozen.
Yes, I will now welcome to the booth Tyler Skozen. Welcome out of University of Northwestern Ohio, that 28 machine. Tyler, how does it feel getting a second place here in the first ever race of the UNOH CIL Cup Series?
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty disappointed with that, really. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with the speed for the most part, but like, I don't know, I was kind of fuel saving really that whole last run. I was doing a few push laps and a few save laps. I was kind of just going all over the place, and like, I knew we had a really good car actually. It wasn't really good on the short run. It took like 10, 15 or so laps to actually get going. But then once we were on the long run, I mean, the car was pretty good for the most part. And honestly, I wasn't that confident heading into this race, especially with how I was doing on the beginning of the race. I felt like I was just dropping every restart. I couldn't get going, and I overshot my pit box at one point, and just, I don't know. I guess to come away with this, I mean, it's great, finally. I'm glad I finally got a podium out of all this, but yeah, it's just felt good for once. But man, I really had a feeling on those last few laps that I had enough and the guys in front of me didn't. But, it is what it is, but I'll definitely take this to start the year.
Yeah, well, you had some really good moves all up and down the field today. Kind of talk us through how you're able to set up a move like that at Charlotte, where sometimes passing seems almost impossible.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is pretty difficult to pass, especially tonight here. For the most part, it's kind of hard to say, but like, I knew how bad the dirty air was. I was kind of like playing around my brake pedals, a little odd this race, but like I kind of got the hang of it, and I've had a lot of issues with dirty air in this car and almost never working out for me. But, once I kind of had that long run going, I could really figure out the speed. I was like, okay, I can kind of like fit my car into a gap. I can get a little bit of clean air on the nose, and it can actually roll pretty well. And then even the times that, I kind of had my line blocked, I was actually able to send it pretty deep and actually get into the throttle really well, which I think was our strength for the most part. So, I definitely was kind of really trying to figure out the best line the whole race. But, as long as I got, some of those passes figured out, and, getting my car into clean air, even just a little bit of clean air, I mean, it helped quite a bit. And I really didn't think it was going to be good this race, but honestly, a lot of the shade that we had, I think, really did help with that. But I don't know. It was honestly, a lot of the passes that I made, the ones that worked, they shocked me. So I'll take it and walk, pretty much.
All right, and before we send you away here, Tyler, do you have anybody you'd like to shout out or thank for this podium position?
Yeah, of course. Want to shout out to the whole league. It's great to get back going here for the first time. You guys in the booth, I'm sure you're gonna call the great race. I'll definitely go back and give it a watch here. And yeah, of course, all my friends, family that have watched, supported me in a bunch of different league races I've done. Of course, everybody at UNOH for the support. It's awesome to see a lot more of a lot of Uno personality represented in this league this season. So yeah, of course. Thanks everybody, and we'll give it a try next week.
All right. Well, thanks for coming to talk with us, and I'll see you when I see you.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, and now I can hand it back over to Brad as he has caught up with our third place finisher, Mr. AJR himself, of course, Aaron Brown out of Eastern Shore Community College.
Aaron Brown from Eastern Shore Community College. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, I think I've learned more about you and your maybe musical taste than I might have ever tonight. And along with that, with Lucas being in the booth with me, well, how was that race for you? How were you feeling getting out of the car? And we kind of watched you on board there, and it seemed like you were very, very locked in to the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I was just trying to be as smooth as possible. You really got to be smooth with these tires. I think it was going pretty well. That first run backed off. I didn't get the qualifying I was hoping for. A lot of guys were shifting in qualifying, and I did not. So that put me behind the back foot a little bit. But I think I knew Longland was probably going to be really good for me, and it was in the first run there. I drove all the way up to second, right before we had that first, well, not first caution, but a few yellows around lap 40. Um, and we had that caution, and I drove up pretty well, up pretty well to about so up to second. I was feeling really good. I was just kind of wrapping the bottom, putting the left side on the paint in the corners, and the grip has there's a lot of grip in the paint on the both corners here, and I think that's kind of what I just stuck to all night. And that last run there, I think I maybe hurt the tires a little bit. I think just staying in cleaner a little bit, it definitely felt faster. Allowed me to push a little bit, but I think it just over pushed it in those final few runs there, and especially trying to battle with Lyman there throughout that early part of that run, trying to keep him behind me. That definitely hurt my tires there, but overall, I think it was a pretty good race. I was hoping I could get the win and open up the season with the win, but unfortunately, Logan ended up being flying in that final run there, and Tyler just got me right at the line. At the last two laps, my tires just said no more. So I think could have done a little bit better, but overall, I think a very solid night for me.
And then, looking forward into the coming races here, anything, in season 14 that caught your eye race wise or overall, anything you're looking forward to? I know you just jumped out of the car, so you might not remember too many of the races coming up, but anything, taken from what you learned tonight or anything like that you're looking forward to throughout this season?
Yeah, probably about the same. It's 30 years going to be a big problem. Just trying to get track position is going to be the biggest thing all season long. But I know a couple. I was excited for the schedule on some of these parts. I know Rockingham I typically hated, but I know recently they did update that back in September, and I have not driven it since. So we'll have to do a little bit of testing there. Hopefully that's a lot better than what it used to be, because I really hated old Rockingham. But I did see Mexico City on there, so I'm probably not going to be good on the road course. I know we got a couple really good road course racers in here in the series. I know Sean Campbell was a good one, the last season's champion. He was really good. But I'm gonna try and do my best in Mexico City. But Mexico City is a very very fun racetrack, so I'm excited for that one. But I think I saw a couple Auto Club, Kansas, and Legacy, in Atlanta. So those are pretty good. Those are good for me. I almost won all three of those. I almost won Kansas. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of contact with the lap car with about 10 to go. But in Auto Club in Atlanta, we did win. So hopefully, I can go back to back in those tracks. And I think this season looking good. Hopefully, we just keep the consistency a little bit better. Last year we started really good, and then just was kind of all over the place throughout the mid part of that last season. So hopefully we can clear that up a little bit, maybe make a run for the championship later.
And hopefully get more screen time up here after the races as well. I think that'd be a good time to talk throughout the season, see how things go. But before we let you go, tonight you had your 5th top 5 finish. When it comes to winning multiple races like last season, is that an expectation for you coming into this season, or is it just try to be consistent like you said?
I was hoping I can win a couple races this year. I was hoping at least I just want to win at least one, which I was looking very strong earlier to do that. Hopefully multiple wins is the thing, and I hope that I can get a couple. I know I got a couple strong tracks on the schedule that I can do that, but I think more or less I want to try and really be consistent. I feel like every time I try to win the championship, it all kind of falls apart. I get too zoned in on it. So I don't want to try tunnel vision on just being super consistent for the championship, but hopefully just get a consistent top 5s every week, top 10s, and just hopefully I can be there. And if I can't win multiple races, hopefully I'll be there in the championship. Hopefully, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get a couple wins. I know I'm eyeing Kansas in Auto Club and Atlanta again for sure. So hopefully those will be pretty good. But next week in Chicagoland, it's definitely going to be another track similar. So hopefully we can win there maybe next week.
I like the sounds of that. So before we let you go, Aaron, is there anyone you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, I got to thank my friends racing with me tonight. Edward Sanchez talking me through, just both of us talking through the strategy. Got to thank Tyler. Tyler got me right there for second, right at the line. Just all fun people to race with. Got to thank everyone else for coming out tonight. Also racing, put on a great show. It was definitely fun racing with everybody tonight. A very clean race, so it was exciting. I got to thank you guys for the broadcast. I got to thank all the admins here in CIL putting on the league and allowing every college student to come out here and just run. I got to thank all my friends back at Eastern Shore Community College supporting me tonight. Thank you guys. And I got to thank just everyone for tuning in and watching tonight as well.
We got to thank you, Aaron, for joining us here tonight as you got your, well, like we said before, your 5th top 5 and hoping to keep the season going. You have started off on the right foot, getting a podium. We'll see what happens here throughout season 14. So again, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next week.
Yes, thank you. See you next week.
And that was your 3rd place finisher from Eastern Shore Community College, Aaron Brown. And from there, we are actually going to take a look back. I believe that we could take a look back here for those tuning in from the High Tide Racing League and just look back at potentially that last lap to see how this whole night unfolded here in Charlotte, as we had Logan Smith take a pretty good hold of that lead coming into the final set of laps, and he never looked back as that Auburn machine was able to just tune that machine and keep on going, along with Tyler Skozin, and we also talked to Aaron Brown. Those 3 pretty much seem to be on rails here tonight. But all that said and done, it is the first race here in the CIL for the season 14. And Lucas, when you're looking back at this replay, anything that popped out to you here tonight comparative to seasons prior where you were racing?
Yeah, I just love going back here in the booth and watching it all from a top-down perspective, as I kind of talked about earlier. Because as somebody who I was looking at the stats, and this kind of shocked me, 18th most experienced driver. I believe I have 60 race starts, which puts me at 18th overall. It feels so nice coming back to this league, but just from a completely different perspective. But then also bringing in all of that knowledge that I attained from actually racing in the league myself. And here we go. We're going to watch Logan Smith cross the start-finish straight and cross that checkered line once again as he gets bumps from Tyler Skozin, our 2nd place finisher. And with that, I think it might just be time to wrap up the stream.
Absolutely. So when it comes to CIL action and College Cup Series action, you can join us back here again starting at around 8:45 p.m. for the 2nd race of season 14 in the UNOH College Cup Series at Chicagoland Speedway. And that is February 2nd at 8:45 again. But if you can't wait a week, we got some more action, at least within the CIL. If you want to join us Wednesday for the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge at Daytona International Speedway, that begins at 8:45. And then if you want even more coverage here on Thursday, it is the Formula Series at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, a very historic track for the Formula Series and in real life. That is on January 29th, this Thursday. The coverage starts at 8:45 p.m. Green flag drops at 9 p.m. And Lucas, what else do we have looking forward outside of the CIL?
Of course, Friday night, we have Zero Torque Racing League, where I will be joined with Nolan Rempel, and they're going to be kicking off their round of 12 playoffs in the Next Gen at Daytona International Speedway. Then the very next night at Saturday, both of these races happen at 8 p.m., by the way. This Saturday night, the Sim Racing Association will take on Las Vegas and the Trucks for their 3rd race of the new IEL Truck Series. So don't miss out on all of these races we got going on. We got Wednesday at 9, Thursday at 9, and Friday and Saturday at 8. Make sure you tune in. And if you're not already, subscribe, hit the likes, hit that notification bell as well. You get notified every time Green Flag TV goes live.
We want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight in Charlotte for the Hall of Fame 200 presented by NAPA Longland Corporation. And for me and my co-commentator Lucas Moody, the producer Christian Brian Hill behind the scenes, this has been a production of the Collegiate iRacing League and Green Flag TV. I wish you all a good night, and we will see you next Monday night for some more UNOH College Cup Series action here on Green Flag TV. Have a good night, everyone.
Peace.
Diesel powers America. From trucks and trains to tractors and excavators, and the need for skilled technicians is exploding.
The opportunities in the diesel world are endless. Here is everything that you'll ever need to succeed.
At the University of Northwestern Ohio, you'll train on real engines, real rigs, and real industry tools, preparing you for careers in transportation, construction, agriculture, and beyond. Apply now at unoh.edu.